Professor Wilson has 210 students in his college mathematics lecture class. The test scores on a midterm exam are normally distributed with a mean of 71.2 and a standard deviation of 8.9. Label the curve with 3 standard deviations above or below the mean. I know you don't have this paper. You're welcome just to watch me. You're welcome just to watch this beginning part. So I start off with the mean that always associated with 0. So 71.2. You've already learned how to do this. So we're going to take 71.2 and we're going to add the standard deviation as I go to the right. 8.1, 89, and 97.9. Now I'm going to go down to the negative 1, 2, and 3. So I'm going to take 71.2 and subtract the standard deviation. 62.3, 53.4, 44.5. Just so I know, can you raise your hand if you understood how I did part A? Okay, I'm done with part A. Now you're going to notice as we go deeper into this problem how this is just slightly different than what we've been doing. So part B says find the z-score. You know how to do that. So z-score is take your data point, subtract the mean, and divide by standard deviation. Now this is going to look a little different than what we've done because to this point when we found a z-score we normally get answers like 2, -2, 1.5. Well this time we get this really ugly decimal. So we're going to round it to the nearest hundredth. Again, you're welcome just to watch thus far. So how is this different than what you've been learning? Here's an example in part C. 0.43 is correct. Thank you for correcting that. Thank you, Jocelyn. Find the percentage of Professor Wilson's math students who scored at most 85. So this is the important part. So write at most down on your paper. If I told you that you got a new job and your boss said you're going to make at most, in this new position, you're going to make at most $11 an hour. What does that mean? Turn to your partner. It means the most you could ever make would be. So you're going to go up to this number that I'm telling you, but you're never going to go past. So in terms of finances, you're going to make up to 11, but don't ever expect to make past that. So we want to know what is the percentage of students that go up to 85 but never past it. So I'm going to come up above and I'm going to find 85. So 80 and 89. 85 would be about here, right guys? Okay, bless you. So here's what is different. So we want to go up to 85. So it's everything here. Now how is this different? Because up to this point, if you think about Monday, when we did this, we always landed on these nice columns or directly in between, and so we could add percentages. Here I'd be estimating. Help me make an estimation, please. Grab your calculator. Please type in 2.5 plus 13.5 plus 68. And now I'm going to estimate plus 10. And this will just help me when I get a final answer to see am I in the same ballpark? Or do I think I made a mistake when plugging in numbers? So what do you have, Jeannie? Okay, so my guess, this is just a guess, my guess is 94%. Okay, so how do we do this now? We're going to use the calculator. This is what you need to write down. So when it doesn't land nicely on these columns, this is what you need to do. So here's the calculator operations. You're first going to hit, so let's write it down first. You're going to hit the second key. Then you're going to find the button that says VARs. From VARs, you're going to go down to the second option that says normal CDF. And it's going to provide you with the beginning parenthesis. You are always going to place 4 numbers after that parenthesis. And in between each number will be a comma. This will always represent the smaller number, the larger number, the mean, and the standard deviation. Always, always in that order. Now, if you come to a problem where there's no small number, then you're going to always place -999. And if you come to one where there's no large number, we're going to do +999. So for this problem, I can see I go up to 85, but I've never passed it. So 85 is my largest number. So I'm going to put 85 for the large. For the mean of this problem, it's 71.2, and the standard deviation is 8.9. Now you may be thinking, well, what's the small number I'm supposed to write in? If there's no given small number, then I use negative 9999. If you're wondering what kind of work do I have to show for this problem, what I'm circling right here is your work. Okay, grab your calculator. We're going to do this together. Start by hitting second. Now find vars. Go down to your second option, normal CDF, and press enter. So it already starts off at the beginning parenthesis. We're going to type in negative 9999. Then you're going to hit a comma, which can be found above the 7. And we have 85, comma. Now our mean of 71.2, comma. And last is our standard deviation, and then we're going to end it with a parenthesis. Press enter, and actually, I was spot on. Just a guess. We're going to round to the nearest whole number for a percentage, so this would round up to what percentage? 94. So I just happened to get really lucky, but 94 is the correct answer. What does that mean? In this particular problem, it says 94% of the students on this midterm for Mr. Wilson scored at most 85%. We're going to go down right now to we're going to go down to part D. Find the percentages of Professor Wilson's students who recorded, should be ED, a score that was between 70 to 80 on the midterm exam. Okay, so how do we show work? Make your 4 spaces. Now let's make an estimation just so we can see, are we in the same ballpark? So I'm going to come up above and I'm going to find 70. Okay, so 70 is like right here. And I'm going to find 80, which happens to be right here. Now I know this is 34. So sorry you can't see this. So here's your 70 and here's your 80. I know this is 34. It's just a little bit more than 34. So maybe 36, 37, just an estimate. What is the smaller of the 2 numbers I'm provided with? Larger is your mean for this problem and your standard deviation. Brian, you have 10 seconds to get an answer for me. Ready? Get set, go. Can everybody else please calculate, or we can compare our answer to Brian's? Let me know when you have an answer, Brian. Good. So if we round it to the nearest percentage, we would say 39%. Okay, we're going to go on to part E. This is similar to one of the problems that we did yesterday in class and also on today's quiz. Professor Wilson has 210 math students. How many of them would you expect to score at least, circle the word at least, a 65%? Let's put it back into financial terms with a different example. Ruben, you get a new job. And Ruben, it's for the summer, and your boss tells you you're going to make at least $12 an hour. What does that make? What does that mean? Excuse me. Yeah. So we're starting here, like for instance, we're going to make 12 or more for Ruben's example. Well, we're here, you're going to have a score of 65 or more. 65 is your smallest number. Let's go back up here just so we can kind of see what does that look like. 65 is right about here. So I know that it's more than half, and I'm just going to take an estimate, maybe about 60%. That's going to be my guess. Because here's 65, everything to the right added up would maybe be about 60. So let's come down here, make our 4 lines inside parentheses, separated by commas. Like Ruben said, that's going to be the minimum amount when you see at least. So 65 is your smallest number. There's no large number, so we're going to place what number in that position? Mr. Castro, I'm going to give you 15 seconds to get an answer. And I personally do the estimation so that when I see an answer, you know, if it's within a certain range, I go, okay, yep, that must be right. Or if it's way off, it's very possible that I plugged in the numbers wrong. What do you have, Mr. Castro? I agree, 76%. So 76% of the students are expected to score a 65% or better. But we can't just leave that here. We need to take that percentage times 210. So take 210, and I don't want to write 76%, I'm going to write it as a decimal. So 0.76 times 210, and let's round this up so we can estimate that of the 210 students, approximately 160 would receive a score of 65 or better. Part E is very similar. Part E is very similar to a problem on today's quiz. It says 89 inches is how many standard deviations above the mean. So let's go find it. And it would be how many standard deviations? 2 standard deviations above the mean. Okay, let's take like a practice quiz here. Practice quiz. Have one of you please read this out loud. Begin. Okay, grab that calculator. You have 20 seconds to get an answer. Begin. What is your smaller number? 60.8. What is the larger number given? The average is? And your standard deviation. Come up with the percentage. If you're questioning if you're plugging in and right, it should be in this order. Who has an answer of approximately 71%? Hands up. Good job. So it's estimated that 71% of U.S. males have a height that is between the two given values. Okay, here's your next one. Have one person please read this out loud. So at most, let's think now. David's going to help us. David, you get a job. Somebody says you're going to make at most $9 an hour. What does that mean?
You're going to make, the most money you're going to make is $9.
So are you going above 9 or up to 9?
Up to.
So 9 is your highest number, or in this case, because we see at most, 220 is your highest number. Are you given a low number? No. So what do we always assume is a low number then? Plug it in. Oscar, I'll take your answer. Approximately what percentage? 12% is correct. Hands up high if you have 12%. So it's estimated that 12% of pretzel bags are at most 120. It means up to 120 grams, but not beyond that. Can I have the next person read the last problem? Keywords is at least. Josh, you get a job. You're going to make at least $10 an hour. What does that mean? That's the smallest you're going to make, right? So your smallest, in the case of Josh, is going to make $10 or more. So you're going to have 140 or more. Is this your small or your large number? So do we see a large number? So your large number will be 9999. And Cynthia, what is your percentage? 66. I agree. So an estimated 66% of pretzel bags are at least 140. That means 140 or greater. Great job.